She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks so much for joining us today. Today is going to be a day that is going to be set apart, very different than every other day that we've ever done here on the show. From time to time, we're able to bring different people, different guests. In this case, it's a brother from a different mother. Someone that I love dearly, someone I believe in, somebody I've worked with, somebody that I've been in Nicaragua on the ground of the extreme poor with, somebody who had to overcome incredible, horrible odds, everything stacked against him. And still, he was able to win. My friend Shawn Harper is a husband, totally devoted to his beautiful wife, Falana, his son, Caleb, who now I think is about as tall as his dad, devoted to his God, devoted to his coworkers, and devoted to this community, the Destiny Global, DaniJohnson.com community. He's been one to help take care of the poor, build houses for the extreme poor. He's been one to travel all over the world sharing his story. And the kind of humility that is inside of this man is a very rare, rare thing. God has used this man to inspire me in lots of different ways, and especially during a real time of need, both he and his wife, Falana, where there was a part of my life that was just really harsh, a really, really harsh season. And yet God brought this couple into my life to encourage, to pray for, to lift up, and to just plant seeds of inspiration. I believe that the same thing is going to happen for you today as you hear his story. Imagine coming from the wrong side of the tracks, growing up perhaps in a family where, man, you're just one of many. There's divorce, there's abuse, there's pain, there's suffering. Sometimes there's not even food. That's where he found himself. But then to live the dream that so many young men have of being in the NFL as a football player, and a successful one at that. Here on the Dani Johnson Show every day, we are bringing you either guests, messaging, topics to help ignite you to go toe-to-toe with the status quo of success. And what do I mean by that? You see, the status quo of success is not where you're supposed to be. No, that's actually keeping up with the Joneses. And in case you haven't realized this yet, the Joneses are totally flat broke. They're in debt beyond their eyeballs. They are stressing out daily, nightly. They're having a sexless marriage, hugging the sides of the bed, fighting about money on a weekly basis. They're on 17 different types of medication, whether it's for pain or high blood pressure or cholesterol or whatever, antidepressants. And yet on the outside of the house, boy, man, the Joneses' house just looks so nice with those nice cars in the driveway, yeah, and their boat. And then, yeah, you get behind the front door and you find out the truth. The truth is, you don't want their life. I don't want their life. But is there a way to become successful financially without having to be miserable and having miserable relationships? Yes, there is. So joining me now, Shawn Harper, all the way from Columbus, Ohio. Shawn, hi,
hey.
brother. You look awesome today.
You? Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. That was awesome.
Well, you know how our family feels about you. That's just how that is. And I've enjoyed the times that we've had together. Okay, so Shawn, I want people to see the real Shawn Harper. And okay. I want us to go back. I mean, because you have a very powerful, successful story. You're an international motivational speaker. You're now an author, where you just finished your first book. You're working on your second and your third right now as we are speaking, which is exciting. It's a hard thing to write a book. I mean, it's a painful thing. But you didn't start off successful. You started off with all kinds of things against you. So what are some of the things that were against you?
Well, one of my earliest memories that I was actually physically abused by my father, and I'm going to be real candid today, and I'm going to share things that I have never shared today. I just feel the urge that I should go that route, and I pray that my message and story blesses and it doesn't offend. But one of my earliest moments that I can remember is that I was physically abused by my father, and having that trust broken, that the man that I would hold my hand out to every day, and he would push me away, and then abuse would ensue. My mom was left about a year or so later. My father left, and my mom literally scrubbed floors to earn a living. She raised all 6 of us. She kept the house together. There was very powerful and painful moments. I would look over in a corner sometimes, and I would just see my mom sitting in the chair crying. But she was a very strong woman, and she puts the R in resilience. And so through social programs and scrubbing the floors in affluent neighborhoods, she kept the family together. She raised all 6 of us. Unfortunately, by the time I was in the 1st grade, I was continually struggling now educationally. Environmentally, there was a struggle, but also in education. And I had to repeat the 1st grade. Being that my mom was, struggling to make ends meet, man, we had to, I wore hand-me-downs every single day. And by the time I was in the 5th grade, documented with 4 to 5 learning disabilities. I stuttered my entire life. I could not complete a sentence till college. And because of all of the adversity and because of all the struggles, I began to grow very bitter and angry. And I don't know if you know much about anger, but anger always destroys the container that it's held in. Mm-hmm. And growing up, I wasn't a bad boy. I was worse. I was a mad boy. And in the streets, and you might not notice, but in the streets, bad ain't got nothing on mad. You meet somebody who's mad, stay away from that individual, because she relishes the opportunity to engage you.
Shawn, I want you to talk about that. I really want to hear about that. This is the first time I'm hearing this out of you, actually. So I want to hear, what does the mad kid do?
Wow. Anger is very interesting, because if it doesn't have an outlet, it will turn on you and it will begin to eat you. And so when a situation that would arise that
hold on, Shawn. I'm sorry. That feed is not.
Like that.
I'm so sorry, Shawn. Something happened with your Skype feed, and we missed everything that you just said. And by the way, Shawn Harper is joining us from Columbus, Ohio, from his company. He owns a security company. You can see in his background the uniforms of his staff. He's the CEO of that particular company, a very successful security company. Just in case you're like, where is he sitting? He owns that company he's sitting in. This must be the place he's hiding from his staff right now. I don't know what.
I am literally hiding right now from my staff.
That's so awesome.
Me up my own, they kicked me out my office. Like, get out. They go back in the corner and do this. Like,
that's so funny. Okay, so let's come back to mad, because I love what you said, that anger, anger, when it doesn't have an outlet, will destroy its container in which it's in. And so I don't want anyone to have to guess what you're saying, but anger within a person, if it doesn't have an outlet, and I got to talk to you about that, because especially boys, boys were born to rule and reign. And I discovered this when I had our son Cave. I'd had $2 first, and then there was Cave. Was like, dang, man, this kid is like a different human, like altogether. It wasn't the same as raising a girl who had this natural tendency to submit, but then here was this one to dominate. And I remember praying about that, like how do I do this? And then God had showed me, it's like, he's a boy and he's a man. He's a man child, and a man is designed to dominate, to rule, to reign. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like totally different. And so with having 3 sons, I can tell you that when that testosterone is going, and they're made to war, right? Boys are made to war. And when parents don't understand that, they try to keep this kid all bottled up, and they're stuffing their emotions, and it will destroy the person. Anger.
Right.
That aggression that's inside of a man will destroy the man if it doesn't have an outlet to get it out. And so I want you to talk about, how did you, so you said there's a difference between the mad kid and the bad kid. Dang, man, that is so true. So true. So tell me what it looked like from you. How did you act out as a mad kid instead of a bad kid?
Well, you know what? Growing up in the socioeconomic settings that I was in.
Oh, come on. Where did you grow up, Shawn? Quit with all this college jargon and tell me where you grew up.
What do you want me to say?
Where did you grow up? Don't tell me social economics. I have to look up in a thesaurus what the heck that means. Tell me what that means. What is it?
I grew up in the hood.
Thank you.
South side of Columbus, Ohio. And
what did the hood look like? What happened in the hood?
A lot of things. A lot of things happen in the hood that I'm not really comfortable sharing.
Well, you're going to share it right here, right now, brother. I want to hear it. Tell me what the hood looked like.
A lot. You know what? There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of bitterness. A lot of fighting. A lot of infighting. Whole new set of rules. Whole new set of There's a different value system predicated.
What is it?
Based off of
what
respect.
is it? Tell me what the value system is. Take me there. I want you to take me to the hood. I want you to take the person who is listening right now. Take us into the hood.
You don't want to go.
Yes, I do. Trust me. Hello, I've been there.
Okay. So it's based off of two words: respect and survival. Okay. And we lived our life in survival mode. And as long as you are reacting and surviving, you can never thrive and proact. People are, a lot of people think, okay, this is how I'm going to, plan out my life 2 or 3 years from now, 6 months from now, 12 years from now, generationally. I was listening to you earlier. You were talking about how your husband had things set up for generations. Mm-hmm. You know what? When you're in that type of socioeconomic setting or the hood, what you're more concerned about is, what are you going to eat today? Yeah. How are you going to survive today? What's going to happen tomorrow morning, not next week? There is no planning. There's no 401k. It's feed me now. It's survival. And you know what? When you're reduced to that, then you move into what's called, I mentioned earlier, reaction. And as long as you're reacting, you can never proact. In other words, you're in a hustling mindset. In a hustling mindset, you can always tell a person who's in a hustling mindset because their eyes are always looking and their backs are up against a proverbial wall. Okay, and they're looking for opportunities. They're looking who's going to get got. It's just like the jungle. Yep. It is exactly like the jungle. Yep. Eat or be eaten.
Eat or be eaten. No kid should grow up in this place, but I have certainly been in the hood. I certainly grew up around this kind of stuff, surrounded by drugs, people that are armed, people who are raping people, people who are beating people up, people who are ganging up on people. It is living in constant fear, torment, turmoil, horrific way to live. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with Shawn Harper. More right after this.
Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show. Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what poverty-stricken families are dealing with in Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic needs of food, clean water, and safe housing. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming Nicaragua. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Nicaragua. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org. Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. The most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities. And they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
The hood. Not a place for you or a child. Not a place for anybody. We're talking to Shawn Harper today from Columbus, Ohio, former NFL football player who had to overcome so much in order to succeed. And while so many NFL football players, just 2 years after they leave the NFL, after their retirement, they end up completely broke. Very few ever become successful again. That's not Shawn Harper. He did. Successful businessman today, owner of a successful security company out in Columbus, Ohio, joins us today. We're getting into his story and finding the nuggets of value that we can apply to our life right now so that we can succeed better and that we can obliterate the status quo. Instead of competing with the Joneses, we now set the bar for how life should be lived. Shawn, you grew up in the hood around drugs, gangs. You said it was about like survival. It was a daily thing. There's no goals. It's just, how do I stay alive? Where am I going to eat today?
And if I could cut you off for a second, that is the danger of a lot of social programs, is that it puts you in that passive mindset that on the first or on the third, you get a check every single month. So that drive, that zeal is stagnant. And it's stagnant, as you know, what you don't use weakens. It dies. Therefore, guess what? 15 years from now, you have more kids. It's generational. That's the one thing I do not like about social programs, that it doesn't activate that win, that drive, that determination that's in each and every human being on the planet Earth.
I totally agree with you. So here you are, you're a welfare kid, right? Growing up in the hood, you're one of 6. Your dad abused you. Your mom is single. She's crying. She doesn't know how she's going to put food on the table. She's scrubbing other people's floors. You're stuttering. You've got a bunch of learning disabilities. What did people say to you?
Oh, I had some amazing nicknames that I'm gonna share. One was BB Bus Scouts, because my hair was always nappy. The other one was Crud McMud, and that was my nickname everywhere I went. People had very low expectations, and expectations are powerful, because when you have an expectation of a person, that gives off energy. And if you're not careful, that person or the person that you have low expectations on or towards will live just at that or slightly above those expectations. I was talked about, I was laughed at, I was picked on, friends or people who weren't my friends, and it was very hard. But the dangerous part about it is that one day I believed what they said. I believed that lie, and in that, their opinions became my reality.
Okay,
and
so tell me what their opinions were, Shawn. What did they say?
Shawn, you'll never make it. Shawn, you're a loser. Shawn, you're a failure. Shawn, you're stupid. Shawn, you're dumb. I can remember being in class and the teacher would have each student read a paragraph, and I would count the number of students. And so when we get to my paragraph, and I would be almost sweating, Dan, just trying to find that one sentence or that one paragraph so I can get every word right, because I knew if I would mess up or stuttered too much that the entire class would bust out laughing.
Yeah.
My fear was going to the board. My struggle is, please don't call me to go to the board to write or spell anything or to do a math problem. You know, it was torture.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Dude, I so
yeah.
identify with that story. I was the same way. I was dyslexic, and I had that same, I was so crippled with fear. Even in high school, man, we're not even talking grade school. I'm talking my junior year in high school, like, oh gosh, so terrified to be called on. So terrified. And there was only 8 of us in that class. I'm going to be called on. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my gosh. You know, and you feel so dumb. And then you start playing those tapes in your head. You loser, you idiot. You know what I mean? And that's all that you believe about yourself. Yes. You just know you're not going to make it. And you're looking at the pretty person. You're looking at the good-looking guy. You're looking at the jock going, you know, they got it made. They got it made. But I am made for trash. I'm made for trash. So, man, and it is such a hard thing to overcome, but it's overcomable. It is possible to not stay the dumbest one in the class. It is possible to not continue to stutter. It is possible to no longer be afraid. It is possible to succeed. It is possible to go from those terrible nicknames that are demeaning and degrading that are keeping you down and to rise up better than all of them who were calling the names. It is possible to do the unthinkable thing. It isn't impossible to succeed in the exact opposite direction of the failure. That is what God has put inside of every single one of us. Period. End of story. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
My name is Jen Horling. This is my first time at First Steps. I just gotta say, my God is way bigger than my hair. These last 2 days, beyond what I could ever have imagined. I grew up in the church and thought, sure, I'm gonna go to another conference, I'm gonna make some amazing friends, I'm gonna have some life-changing experiences. But I never expected to find the community and the genuine, authentic, real community that I found when I came here. And I did not expect to find a true leader. And I am just mind blown right now and so beyond grateful to be here. So thank you.
Prior to getting to Dani Johnson's First Steps to Success, my husband and I were completely broke. We just filed bankruptcy. We lost our home to foreclosure and we were on food stamps. After the second day of her event, we figured out where all our money was going. We got ourselves out of debt in 3 months. We paid off $18,000 worth of debt and are completely debt-free. And now we've finally created a life of our dreams. We've made a 6-figure business and we're just doing everything that we want. So if you're thinking about coming to First Steps to Success, you've got to make it happen. Sign up right now and make sure you don't miss it.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was hopelessly lost in addiction. My relationships with people, coworkers, family, friends failed. I was struggling under the bondage of debt, and I had no clear vision or purpose for my life. After taking my first steps to success, I've been able to pay off $7,000 in debt in about 4.5 months. I have a clear vision and purpose for my life. I can honestly say that my addictions are a thing of the past. If you're interested in changing your life in whatever way, in whatever area, you need to log into DaniJohnson.com and you need to be at the next First Steps to Success.
Prior to coming to First Steps, I was miserable. I never talked to people because I thought I was shy, I thought I was boring, and I thought that I was destined to be alone forever. After coming to First Steps to Success, I broke through all of those lies. I built confidence and I used the skills that I've learned there to get myself an amazing job where I will be put quickly into a position of leadership. So if you're ready to find out who you are, why you are the way you are, and how to get new skills to dramatically change your life, you need to join me at the very next First Steps to Success. No excuses, no delays, get registered now.
Hi, my name is Paul. I'm from Massachusetts. And before plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was buried under a sea of self-doubt, fear, and my communication skills were non-existent. Sales non-existent as well. But after attending First Steps to Success, my sales have quadrupled, my fear has been lifted, and my relationships are better than ever because I communicate better than ever. If you want your life to turn around, all your dreams start coming to fruition, you are going to be at First Steps to Success.
Prior to plugging in to Dani Johnson, my husband and I were drowning in a sea of debt. I had broken relationships all around me of the ones that I cared most about, and I had started a company that was losing more money than it was making. And after plugging into Dani Johnson, we have paid off $196,000 in 13 months. My company has grown 90%, and I have relationships that I could never have even imagined with the ones I care most about around me. So I don't know about you. Maybe you're making all the money you need to. Maybe you're doing great. Maybe your relationships are phenomenal. But if they're not, I encourage you to get to the next first steps to success.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Loser, failure, idiot. You ever heard those words? From your brothers, your sisters, your classmates, people on the playground, your parents. See what happens when the abortion lives? These are the things I heard growing up, and boy, did I believe them. Shawn Harper also heard similar things. Former NFL football player, as well as successful businessman of a security company in Columbus, Ohio. Shawn, thanks for sharing with us the hood and what that was like to grow up in that kind of fear. Those are some of the things. I mean, having to overcome stuttering your whole life. So when did the dream start to get birthed about playing football, about going to college? I mean, because that's just not the place for a kid from the hood.
Well, the amazing thing about a dream is that you are born because of the dream. You're here for a season and you're here for a reason. Most people think it's the opposite. Hey, I arbitrarily have a dream. This is a dream that I choose. That's a lie. The dream, you've been impregnated for a cause, a season, and a method, a cause, a season, a purpose, and a journey. Mm-hmm. And when you tap into that dream, you are unstoppable. So ever since the first grade, I've always wanted to play professional football. I would have posters. I would go outside and play tackle football in the street. I'm like, I'm going to play professional football one day. But I got to the point, Dani, that my senior year, there was nothing around me that validated the dream that was in me. I barely started in high school football. No honorable mention, all conference, no all city, no all state. You can look this up, okay? But that dream was still there. And as I mentioned, I believe some time ago, is that your dream is like a seed. You can often count the number of seeds in an orange, but you can never count the number of oranges in the seed. That dream still is there and it's calling out. And I remember my first year at junior college, I sat the bench the entire season, and I was ready, and I was ready to give up. And going into the second year, I'm watching TV, and 3 or 4 guys in a room, and I just jumped up. I said, "Man, I've always wanted to play Division I NFL football, guys." And they're all looking and they're laughing. And you know what? I don't blame them for that because they didn't see it on me. Heck, I didn't see it on me. This was my dream speaking. I want to play in the NFL. And the room falls silent, Dani. And one guy turns down the TV and he looks at me. He says, "Shawn, you'll never make it. You're not strong enough. You're not fast enough. You're not quick enough." And I'm like, wow. And I walk out to the practice field from the dorm room up in Iowa, junior college. And I yelled as loud as I could. All I have is a dream.
Yes.
And I made a decision that changed the trajectory of my life. I started listening and tapping in to the dream versus what was happening around me.
Wow. Shawn Harper, now new author of the book, The Winning Edge, 8 Principles That Will Bring Out the Winner in You. It's on Amazon.com. You can get your copy right now. We're talking about his story, his history of overcoming the worst obstacles. And in this case, you're in junior college. You've got your friends that you're in college with. Now, let me ask you a question. During that time, and I love what they said, you're not strong enough, you're not fast enough. What did you do when you started listening to the dream versus listening to the friends?
Well, when I started listening to the dream, two things happened. Number one is that I started to become an overachiever. I would practice before practice, during practice, and after practice.
So are you saying, hold on, are you saying that your friends actually gave you the tip of what needed to happen? You're not fast enough, you're not strong enough. Like, dude, you're right. I'm not strong enough.
Right.
You're right. I ain't fast enough.
Right.
And so that's what you did.
Right.
So like you took their instruction of their criticism, their condemnation to tell you that you couldn't do the dream. And you did those first two things. All right. I need to get stronger. I need to get faster.
You know what, Dani, you bring up a very interesting point, and I've never looked at it like that. But when you strip away the offense, the hurt, and the pain, look for the truth. Look for the truth, and because you could take truth and you can change the world with it. I said, okay. So you know what? I practice 15 minutes before practice, during practice, 15 to 20 minutes after practice, on the off days, on the weekends. You know, I'm practicing. The guys are hanging out, doing this, playing PlayStation or whatever game console they had back then. I'm practicing. I'm focused. And I did something that changed my life. I wrote down the letters NFL on my boardroom, in my dorm room, and every day I woke up and said, NFL, that's where I'm going.
Yes.
Every night before I went to sleep, I said, NFL, that's where I'm going. So it's very important, because if you change your focus, you can change your life.
Now, let me ask you a question. Prior to that, right? NFL, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. That's a goal now. It's in front of you. You're now you're applying yourself more. Tell me what you were doing prior to that moment, though. Before you got up and said to your friends, NFL, that's where I'm going. I've had a dream and I want to play it. What were you doing in your life before that?
I was manifesting people's expectations of me.
Which was what? Come on, dude. What does that mean? That sounds great for someone at a Pentecostal church, but that don't tell me squat.
Uh-oh, I moved. Well, listen, I was living the life as an underachiever.
What does that look like, dude?
I'm trying to tell you.
Were you drinking?
Listen.
Were you
I'm
drinking?
trying to tell you.
Were you drinking?
Come on now.
Come on now.
Skype. We're on Skype.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
Were you drinking?
Okay. I was in there just about everything.
Tell me about it. What's the everything? Define the everything. I know the boundaries you're trying to stay away from. We're going in, baby. What is it?
Well, yes, I had my hand in some things that I should not have partaken in.
Like what, Shawn?
Oh.
Come on.
Yes, there were drugs. There was drinking. There was illicit behavior.
Oh, what is illicit behavior? You were having sex?
Things that I'm not proud of.
Hello, come on now.
And the reason why, Dani, is because because I didn't have focus. Mm-hmm. I didn't have focus.
So you were sleeping around, yes or no? You were doing drugs.
Big time.
And you were partying like a rock star.
Big time.
You were playing video games.
Big time.
Hanging out with everybody.
All day.
And that is the path of failure of a dream. That is the path that keeps people stuck. That is the path that causes 98% of the population to be dead or dead broke at the age of 65, depending on their family, friends, and federal government for their main source of income. That is the path that aborts the dream. And you walked away in an instant. Because everything has to do with time. There's only 24 hours in a day. And it just ticks me off when I hear people say, especially in the 98%, well, those people were lucky. No, Shawn Harper was being stupid. He wasn't chasing his dream. The path he was on was a stupid path. When he got off of the stupid path, he jumped on the path of that 2%. I'm going for the dream. I'm going to live for the dream. I'm not going to listen to everybody else that's not going after my dream. And I'm going to go for it. And it's when you stepped off of that 98% and you started living like you were going for the NFL is when that started to realize.
Dani, but it only happened with a word called focus.
Yes.
And
Yes.
once you lock in and once you lock on to where you're going, let me tell you what happens, okay? Truth brings judgment. So the NFL now is my journey. It's my truth. Now, here's where the judgment happens. This is very important because a lot of people don't have that absolute all-in focus. So when you lock on to this is where I'm going, the judgment happens is that now you can judge anything and everything to where you're going.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't line up with where you're going, then it can't be in your life.
Yep.
Like if my friends don't agree with my dreams, then my friends don't agree with me. If my habits don't agree with my dreams, then my habits don't agree with me. They cannot be in my life. If life itself is at war with my dream, well, then life itself is at war with me. And so when you line up and you get that focus, you judge anything and everything to where you're going. And that's the challenge with a lot of people is that dream has been stripped, that goal has been stripped, and now they're walking around because they cannot properly triangulate their life.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. So you're focused. I'm so glad we had that nice little rant because the reality is that it's all about choices. And there's a law of decision followed by the law of action, followed by the law of focus. And we have people who have dreams, but they think that the ones who get the dream is the ones who just got lucky. There's no luck in it. There's none. There's none at all. It's about a focus of what are you going to do with your time? What are you going to do with your life? And if you're not lining up your time and your life with the dream is going to be aborted, period. But when you line up your time, your talent with the dream, now the dream comes alive. And it comes simply because Shawn, there you were like every other college kid, drinking, partying, having sex, wasting time and wasting the scholarship money, right? Wasting the scholarship money, acting like everybody else in school, that when you finally got focused, wait till you hear how fast everything came about for Shawn's life. Just simply coming out of the everybody else way of living into a completely different way of living. And wait till you see how fast the dream comes to pass. It'll hit you so fast you didn't know. You can't even imagine. It hits you so fast. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
This is the Dani Johnson Show. Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
My name is Mario Johns. I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I just want to share with you on April 14, 2013, that was the first day I heard the name Dani Johnson. And I was so inspired by her story. And I just had to find out, how did she go from homeless to millionaire? And it was just so inspiring to me. So I went on DaniJohnson.com and I started getting the daily emails, the daily fixes. And then after a while, I just stopped reading them for some reason. And August of 2013, it was 4 days before my first event. After work, I went on YouTube, and I typed in Dani Johnson's name, came to my mind, so I typed it in on YouTube, and I sat at my kitchen table for about an hour and just listened to testimonial after testimonial. And I was just so inspired. I'm like, I have to get to this First Steps to Success. And I had no money. I didn't know how I was going to get there. The funny thing was, a week prior to this day, I got a credit card in the mail that I never asked for. It was a $1,200 credit limit. I was going to cut it up, but I figured I'd save it for like the emergency. I got my event ticket, my flight, and my hotel room. I maxed that sucker out, and I came down to Dallas, Texas. And the first 3 hours of the first day, I was just like in tears the whole time. I was just so blown away. It was something that I was just so hungry for. And prior to plugging in, I was a depressed, hopeless, suicidal drug addict. I hated myself. I hated life. I hated other people. I felt like a slave to debt, and I actually accepted debt as part of my life. I had toxic relationships, and I was, and then since plugging in, I've been drug-free for 15 and a half months now. I paid off over $13,000 worth of debt in a little over 13 months. I've completely restored my relationships with my family, my friends. I have amazing friends today from around the world. I love my life, and this is just an honor to be up on the stage. But if I just want to say, if you're new here, one thing that I wish I did is one of my favorite products is War on Debt, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't been following that as like I should be. My first event, if I got War on Debt and followed that with diligence, today I'd be debt-free. So I just want to encourage you, if you're new here and you have debt, I highly recommend getting that, because that's, by the end of this year, I want to be debt-free, and that's my goal. So please help me welcome back to the stage America's favorite millionaire, Dani Johnson.
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Focus. What are you focusing on right now? And is it going to help you get to that dream, that thing that you're after? Joining me now from Columbus, Ohio, right from his office, Shawn Harper, former NFL football player who had to overcome every possible odd that needed to be overcome in order to hit that dream. Today, a successful businessman, father, and husband of a security company. Shawn, we were just talking about focus. We were talking about you getting off of the wrong path and then making that decision. How fast, from that moment, right, when you made that decision, where you wrote down on your board in your room, in your dorm room, NFL, here I come, that's where I'm going, that then changed your behavior, you made new decisions, and you walked it out. How long before you were in the NFL?
By the end of the season, I signed a full scholarship to Indiana University. And draft day in the NFL, several years later, I'm third pick in the fourth round, 87 pick overall. It happened within 3.5 years, just like that. Locked in on it. And you know what, Dani, if I could say something just about that word focus, more now than ever, you have to fight for your focus, because everything wants your attention, especially social media.
Yes.
And this is the danger of social media microwave generation, is that you move, but you don't move authentically, and you're not all into your move because you're not present. Your mind's here, your mind's here. You're making a decision about this half-heartedly. And if you're making a decision, or if you are moving into a direction half-heartedly, it means that you're not moving in agreement, spirit, soul, and body. And if you're not moving with spirit, soul, and body in agreement, you're not moving with power, and you will not be successful. You will not be successful. Take the distractions, take the TV, take the social media, take anything that's trying to pull you out from being all in.
Yep.
And eradicate it from your life. Listen to this. Our founding fathers, 56, signed the Declaration of Independence under the penalty of treason.
Yep.
they were all in. It was do or die.
Yeah.
And that's the tenacity and the attitude you have to have. It's either do or die.
Yep. Shawn Harper, NFL football player and businessman. The book, The Winning Edge, 8 Principles That Will Bring Out the Winner in You. If anyone knows how to do that, it is Shawn Harper. Amazon.com. Get your copy right now. Get your copy of this book immediately. So, Shawn, I heard you and I were together recently in San Diego, and you were talking about tenacity and how your coach, actually, when you were in college, told you to get off the field. Touch on that for a minute.
Well, I was running half-heartedly in sprints, and the coach knew that there was more in me, and he was so frustrated because he couldn't get it all out of me. He's pushing me, he's driving me, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm only going to give you 60%. That's all that I have within me, in me. And he was afraid that my attitude was going to spread to the rest of the team. And probably the third or fourth sprint, he stopped the entire line, 30 to 40 people, and he yelled to the top of his voice, "Shawn Harper, get off my field." And I thought he was playing, and then he said it again. I said, "Get off." And I walked to the school, to the locker room, about 30 to 40 yards away. I take off my helmet, and I am so angry. But about 30 seconds later, that dream, man, I get choked. That dream, just something's like, don't do it. And I picked up my helmet. I waited for about a minute, and I walked out to that practice field, and I put my helmet on. And I stood right next to the coach. And first, after about 30 seconds, he's like, "Shawn Harper, what are you doing here?" I said, "Coach, I'm ready to play." He said, "Get away from me." And he would move 10 yards. I would follow him. Every drill, he yelled at me, "Get off my field, I told you. Get away from me. We don't want you around here." I walked, placed, and I paced him for about 15 minutes. And finally, he's talking, and he stops in mid-sentence. He turns, he looks to the left. He's like, "Shawn, what do you want?"
Yes.
And I looked him dead in the eye. I looked him in the eye. I said, "Coach, you can't make me quit."
Yes.
And then he looked at me for about a second, and he mumbled this word, and the word was tenacity. I didn't know what it meant then.
Yeah.
And he said, "I can use that. Harper, get in line."
Yes.
One of the coaches smacked me on the butt, and I got in line, and I ran like I never ran before that. But I knew. And you know what's so amazing about a coach, Dani, which is why I really love you, is that a coach can call the king out of a kid.
Yes.
A coach can see things that the other person, I mean, sometimes you're down and out, you're sweating, you're tired. The coach is like, "I see one more in you. Even when you can't see it, I see 2 more sprints in you. I will push you." And you know what's amazing? I know a lot of professionals. I know professionals. And I know professional athletes. I know professional singers. They all have coaches. And they all sit in the back, and they push you till you feel like you want to give up, ball up, and die. But they see what you don't see.
It's true. It's absolutely true. Shawn Harper, former NFL football player, came from the hood, drugs, messed up life, to now an author. The Winning Edge, 8 Principles That Will Bring Out the Winner in You. It's on Amazon.com. Go get your copy right now. He's one of the most inspirational people I personally know. And I've had such a joy in running with my brother for the last 4.5 years that he and I have been running the race. Actually, it's going on 5 years. This September will be 5 years. It was 2013 when we met. Shawn, you know, First Steps to Success, you came out to that almost 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago. And you and your wife actually attended that event, and you already had some success in your life, but you guys had some debt. What have you done since using the principles? Because you've hit almost every single event for the last 4.5 years without fail. And you've applied the information that you've learned. I've got 1.5 minutes left before this segment is over. What has been the results that you've had?
Results is that we have paid off over $250,000, spent $360,000 in about 3 years. But the biggest result that we've realized is that debt is not good. Mm-hmm. Debt is not a good thing to have in your life. Personal debt, business debt's different, but to have that personal debt pulling on you, it's weird. It starts to influence your conversations. It influences your mood. To be free from that debt is an absolute blessing. Yeah. And you know what? The queen is more happier. So when the queen's happy, the house is happy. So.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. And what happens is that debt begins to influence the dream. It starts to make the dream die. And so paying off over $360,000 worth of debt in 36 months is a really amazing thing. And you guys have been able to travel more. Yes. Went on a trip with us in Nicaragua last year, actually, you and I and your wife down in Nicaragua, loving on those who are extremely poor. You and your wife have built several homes for the extreme poor. Your life has not been about yourselves, but it's been about who you can impart to live the dream themselves and imparting that dream and calling out that dream of others. Again, this is Shawn Harper, The Winning Edge, 8 Principles That Will Bring Out the Winner in You. Get your copy today. Shawn, thank you so much for joining us today. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
The next segment might just change your life. This is The Dani Johnson Show.
Prior to getting started with DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, we were spending absolutely every dime that we made. We were really struggling financially. Since plugging in to First Steps to Success just 4 months ago, we started a brand new business that is doing very, very well. We've paid off $4,500 in debt, but the most important thing is my relationship with my husband has improved dramatically. I mean, we have so much more fun together. I don't know about you, maybe your finances, you're doing great, maybe you're debt-free, maybe your relationships with your spouse, with your family are great. But if not, if you have some areas in your life that feel a little out of control or there's things that you need to work on, I highly recommend getting to First Steps to Success as soon as you can.
Prior to being dragged out to First Steps to Success, I was hopeless. I had no point to life. It was a day-to-day existence, working a job I despised for people I didn't respect. Deeper and deeper debt every year. You just couldn't get on top of it. I just had no hopes or dreams, none at all, and there was no point to life. But since coming out, we paid off $280,000 worth of debt, married the woman of my dreams. I came to love my job and the people I work for. I have all kinds of hopes and dreams. I get to watch them happen every day. I don't know what your life is like, There's probably tons of hope. You probably know why you live and you got places you're going, but if you don't, you need to sign up for First Steps to Success. You go to DaniJohnson.com and you click on it and be here, because your life will not be the same if you do.
Prior to First Steps to Success, I was drowning in debt, I was terrified of my bills, and I wanted to travel, but I never had the money. And since coming to First Steps to Success, in the last 14 months, I've paid off over $18,000 in debt. I've gone on 6 vacations, and I'm not terrified of my bills anymore. So if you want to learn some proven strategies to really learn how to connect with people, take your life to the next level, all while having a total blast, you need to get registered for the next First Steps to Success today.
Prior to coming to First Step to Success, we were totally struggling, totally under the weight of $640,000 worth of debt, making $20,000 a month, but living paycheck to paycheck. So when we came here, and I realized that it takes a totally different skill set to keep money, to create wealth, than it is to make money, I have totally turned around our lifestyle. We have paid off $640,000 worth of debt in 2 years. We are debt-free as of June of 2013. I don't know where you're at. You might have all your finances in order. You might have a wonderful life. Your marriage might be all perfect and your kids are behaving. But if not, if one of those things is lacking, you gotta get here. Book your next event. You need to be here. You will not regret it.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what poverty-stricken families are dealing with in Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic needs of food, clean water, and safe housing. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming Nicaragua. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Nicaragua. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
So, Shawn, you once were that kid who grew up in the hood and lived the life that life offered. But today you're not that man. So I kind of want you to kind of look back and speak to that either young man or that young boy about a dream. And there's someone that's listening and watching right this minute. They've got a dream in them and maybe they don't know it. Please talk to that one person. Shawn, there we go.
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Find your dream. Turn off the TV. Turn off the social media. Get alone with a pad and just write down what is the thing that you've been called to do. Listen, you're not an accident. Let's kill that crap right now. As I mentioned, you're here for a season and for a reason. Find out your dream, and your dream gives birth to your why. And once you find that dream, you cast that dream. And when you cast that dream, you begin that challenge. Whatever's against my dream is against me. Strip away opinions, strip away your thoughts. The only thing matters is that dream. And for those who think that their dream is long gone, let me share something to you. 2 things, okay? Number 1, when you win, you don't have to win all 4 quarters to win the game.
That's right.
You can win in the 3rd quarter. You can win in the 4th quarter. You can win with 5 minutes left. Just ask Tom Brady. Okay?
Amen.
You don't have to win all 4 quarters to win the game.
Yes.
So keep fighting, keep playing. Now, a word of caution for those who are younger. You can win 3 quarters and lose the 4th. Okay?
True.
You can win 3 quarters and lose the 4th. We're not playing for a state of being. We're playing for a destination. And I want you to take a
Amen. 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 Shawn Harper, thanks so much, man. This has been just an awesome time spending with you, which I love spending time with you, no question. This is Dani Johnson. Again, the name of the book is The Winning Edge, 8 Principles That Will Bring Out the Winner in You. Amazon.com is where you can get Shawn Harper's book. Get it right now. Get it today. In fact, I'd put it in the hands of a lot of young people as well. Everyone needs to know how to play to win, and that's what this year is about, playing to win. You need to play to win in your finances. You need to play to win in your work life. You need to play to win in your marriage and as a parent. You need to play to win in your fun life. You need to play to win in your health. This year, let it be a year that you set yourself up to win. You need to do that by making sure to turn off the voices that are losing and turn on the voices that are helping you win. Go to Amazon.com right now. Get a copy of The Winning Edge by Shawn Harper. The second thing I will tell you to do is get over to DaniJohnson.com. Let us know how you enjoy enjoyed today's program. You can see the show today right on our homepage, and just leave us a comment right there, or come on over and talk to us on Facebook. Let us know how today affected you, and please share this with somebody else. Someone else needs to be inspired how you were inspired today. Someone's about to quit. Someone is in their fourth quarter and they're about to let up and just stand back and say, I can't do it. I don't got it. Yes, you do. You can help them by sharing this particular show with them. This is Dani Johnson. We'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless you and have a great day. Bye-bye.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DaniJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been the Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.